I am Ann Ptaszek. I was born in Poland, Warsaw, 1924, October 10. What else?
What was your earliest memory?
My early memories about the ghetto or the
No, before the war.
before the war. Okay, my early memories when I started to go learn a trade. When I finished school, I went to school 7 grades because that's all my father could afford to send me. And he said that I should go learn a trade. So I went to learn a trade to sew. I learned the trade to make brassieres. That was a nice trade before the war. Was a nice trade. And I worked there for about a year. And she didn't pay me a penny because she taught me. She was teaching me how to do. And then my father kept asking me how I'm doing. Do I know how to sew? Do I know how to do this? And I said, yes, I can do this, I can do this. I couldn't explain them exactly, but I know how to sew on the machine, they're real good. And he said, I think that Bella was her name, my boss. I call her the boss. He said that I'm going to go and talk to her. It's about time to pay you money. So my father went there with me. Of course, I was only 15 years old. I went to school till I was 14. And I was 15 years old and I went to learn a trade. And then my father went to talk to her and she said she's going to pay me 2 zlotys a week. Like $2. Zlotys is $2 a week. So my father agreed. At least 2 zlotys was a lot of money for me that time. And I worked. I learned the trade. And then the war started. In 1939, September, the war started. And then I couldn't go to work anymore because the city was bombed, yeah, and it was damage to the houses wherever we lived there, and I couldn't go to work anymore. Couldn't go to school, I couldn't go to work. So I was home with my parents. And then I met a young man, my friend, a friend. And we used to go out, you know. He came to our house. He was 17 years old also, a young boy.
What was his name?
Abram. I have a picture of him. My uncle, can I talk there? My uncle from Russia, Uncle Jerry. You know who Uncle Jerry is, yeah? Gary knows, sure. Uncle Jerry from Texas. He brought a picture back for me and that young man, Abram. And because I gave him before he went to Russia, that was already in the war, ghetto, the war. And when he came back from Russia, he gave me that picture back. And Uncle Jack, I gave Uncle Jack also a picture. He brought that picture. But this is not with my boyfriend. This is with a friend, a girlfriend, which she was killed in the ghetto from starvation and all those things, that friend of mine. And then the war started. In the ghetto, we couldn't move around anymore. We couldn't go no place. We had to stay in a certain way, and then we started to smuggle. You know probably all those stories. And we tried to do something, and then we had an aunt, Edda, you know. She lived in a different section of the city. And she said to my mother, that was her sister, that we should come together and stay with her in the house because her husband got killed and she had only a daughter and a lawn, and she had a big apartment, real big. And she said, let's go stay with us. My father was still alive that time. And we went to stay with that aunt. And then it was before, I think it was before the holiday. And it was kind of crowded in her house. Some other people came in, they stayed because she lived in the lower level. And people, what they live on the first floor, third floor, fourth floor, they told them to come down because of the bombs, because they were safer in the lower level. So my mother said, we should go home. It's going to be holiday. Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur was holiday. We should go home to our house. So my mother said, I was the oldest from all 6, 7. My mother said I should go home and clean out, open the doors and the windows, air out the house, because we locked it up and we left. We took a little bit what belonging and that's it. And I said, okay, I'm going to go. And my boyfriend went with me, and my brother, Mark, went with me too, to help to do things. Meanwhile, they start to bomb again the city in Warsaw, and my father was worried about me because in that direction where the fire and the smoke was coming, he said, oh, we don't have any more our place, it's burning. In that time, a court, no, not a courthouse, what do you call?
Courtyard.
A courtyard, where people, all around there were houses, and there was a gate to go in. So the police didn't let anybody go out from that courtyard. They had to be, because it was not safe. So my father ran. He ran out. He said, I have to go see my daughter, me and my brother. So meanwhile, my brother ran home. He was a little boy. He was 8 years old. No, he was 10 years old. So he was running home, where they were already bombing there. And he said that I'm coming too home. So meanwhile, they didn't let me walk on the street. They pushed me in a yard thing with my boyfriend. We were carrying some stuff because we wanted to bring to my aunt. And they pushed us into a courtyard, and they didn't let us move. Meanwhile, my father was running around looking for me, because Mark told him that I'm coming too with Abram, that I'm coming too. And he ran, and then he got killed. Because it went by the whole day, he didn't come home. And I finally got home. And they asked me, did you see Dad? I said, no, I don't know where he is. And so, my father had a mother and 2 sisters. And the 2 brothers and another sister was already in Russia. But he had still 2 sisters in Warsaw with his mother. So they came to the house to ask if he came home, and we said, no, he's not home. And we went around looking, not me, my mother and her sister-in-laws both, went around and looked all over. They couldn't find him. Then I told that story too there, because she asked me. Then she said, let's go at the cemetery to see. Maybe he's there. Maybe he got killed and he is in the cemetery. Sure enough, they went to the cemetery. He was there laying on the floor. Somebody brought him. He had only scratches on his forehead. Only scratches. He was not injured, no place, only scratches. And he lost his head. He didn't have his shoes. He had a brand new shoes wearing, and his billfold was gone. Nothing else. He was laying without shoes, without a head, billfold was not there anymore. So we found him. Then we prepared to have a funeral for him, But he didn't have a separate grave. There were layers put one. I think it was 2 layers. They put people in.
And he died in the bombing?
Yeah, in bombing. We don't know how he died, if he got a heart attack or he got squeezed. He had just sores on his forehead.
And how old was he when he died?
He was 42 or 43, something like that, I don't know. I think he was 43. My mother was only 39. They were 3 years apart. Yeah. So that's it. He then we had a cousin, not we, my mother had a cousin who was a cabinet maker. He fixed a box for my father, and I don't know where he got the wood that time. It was already the war, and we went home, got the towels for him, and we wrapped him around. He was on top on another box. There was a box underneath, a casket from wood made, and that's what happened that time. That's the way my father died. That's what I can remember. And then the war started, and then we went to the ghetto, and then we went to the concentration camps.
How many people were in your family? Immediate family?
Oh, immediate family. Okay, we were 9. We were 7 kids and father and mother.
And you were the oldest?
I'm the oldest, yeah. I'm the oldest. And then was Masha, which she got killed.
How much younger was she?
Masha, she was a year younger. She would be 69. I'm 70. She would be 69. She was only a year younger. And then Mindlo, and then is Edda, and Mark, and Riva, and then was Golda. She died. She died in January 20, I think, was her in January 1939. She died. Yeah, she was sick. She had kidney problems, and she died.
And how old was she when she died?
She was 5 years old. There were no medication. There were nothing at that time. If it would happen today, she probably would have lived. There were nothing. She had kidney problems. There were no medication. She died in the hospital. They took her to the hospital, and she died there, in the hospital. She was 5 years old.
And you said you had a lot of extended family that was a part of your life too?
At the end, we had other families, but they didn't live in Warsaw. They lived in Demplin. We had grandmother, my mother's mother, and my mother's sisters and brothers and cousins. They all lived in Demplin. The only family who lived in Warsaw was my mother's sister and my father's. Oh, he had 2 brothers, Uncle Jack, Uncle Jerry. Well, you didn't know. You knew Uncle Jack.
Briefly. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not Uncle Jerry, no. And he had his mother still there in Warsaw, and 3 sisters. Chela, she's still in Israel. We still have our aunt in Israel, Chela, and 2 sisters was Hannah, like my name, and Riva. There was an auntie Hannah, Riva, and Chela. Chaye.
And Edda.
And Edda was my mother's side, yes. So that was but we had relatives in Dublin, a lot, my mother's side. Cousins and aunties and uncles. Shall I name them all? Scheinlo, the Boyre, Chaye, Hamleiser. You know them on the family.
They'll be on the tree, I know.
Huh?
I think they'll put them on the tree again, aren't they? They're already on the tree.
They are. Chiel, Shiusha. We have a picture of Shiusha. Chiel, Yideleib.
Was Shiusha the handsome one that looked like the movie star?
Yeah. He was so handsome. I had a crush on him. He was young. He must have been maybe 5 years older than I am. He was the same age with Uncle Jack. No, he was a good looking. Nice dressed, always beautiful dressed. Okay, what did I count? The kids. Now the kids, I don't remember if I will remember all the name. Hamleise and Chaye had Meilech, Godel, Brandl, Froyim. He had 5, but the young girl, I don't know what her name was. Okay, that was their children. Now we have my mother's brother. That was also my mother's brother. There was a Yiddelite. He had 2 children. His wife was Sure. I'm saying Yiddish, Sure. And he had a Melech, like Moshe Melech, my brother. And what was that girl's name? Rivka? Maybe her name was Rivka, I'm not sure. I cannot remember. So that was another couple. Then we had Chil. His name, and his wife's name was Deborah. And he had also 3 kids. There was a Melech, a Godlo, because she was from the same family what my oldest uncle had. There were 2 cousins married to brothers. 2 cousins married to brothers. He had a Melech, a Godlo, and a Brandl also. You know, the family. Okay, that was Chil. Then was Shiloh, my mother's sister. She had 7 kids. 5 boys and 2 girls. So there was a Herschel, Hoyim, Gdale, Melech, Chippa, the girl, even Chippa. Why? Is it funny, this
I've never
name?
heard some of these names.
Chippa. Chippa the boy. There was, what was that girl's other name? Cannot remember the other girl. Rivke. Could be a Rivke, I don't know. Okay? And then the auntie, my mother's sister in Warsaw, she had 3 children. 2 died. They must have had that kind of sickness, what they have, Tyson?
Typhus?
Typhus? No. You know, they said all the Jews have kind of
Oh,
sickness.
Tay-Sachs.
Paysacs.
They must have had. I'm not sure what they died of. She had 3 children. There was Edda, and her husband's name was Mendel. Good-looking guy too. He was a sport. He used to ride bikes a lot. Bikes. He raced. I was thinking of the word what he was doing. Raced bikes. And she had 3 children. One was Reisele, like my name. I'm Reisel too. My name is Chana Reisel. Reisele, and there was Rivkale, because from her husband's name, Rivkale, and the little girl who was still alive, the youngest, I cannot remember what's their name. I cannot remember. Sarah, Surale? Maybe it was Surale. I'm not sure. I don't know what's her name.
Lots of cousins.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We had lots of cousins.
None of those
And then
cousins
from
survived?
my father's side, what?
None of them survived at all.
No, just us. We're just lucky. Because, I don't know, they were not any worse like we. They were not any better. They were just plain, simple people like we.
And out of all
None
of
of
those
them survived. No.
just you siblings and the aunt in Israel, right?
Uncle
What?
Jack and Jerry.
Oh, yes.
Uncle Jack and Uncle
And Uncle Jack and Uncle Jerry.
Yeah, Uncle Jerry had 2 kids, Albert, and his wife's name is Ann also, like me, and Debbie is her
Debbie.
name, Debbie. She lives now in Chicago, you know, Debbie. And then Uncle Jack's, so his name is Sarah, his wife's name is Sarah, and he had Yapa, Zahava, and Ira. 3 kids. This is my father's side. And then was my Auntie Hannah. She had 2 kids. She had a Herschel, and she had a Chaye. And her husband's name was Avrom too, Han and Avrom. Then I had another auntie, Riva. Was Riva's name. She's not named after because Riva was born with that, way back, grandmother, or whatever it was. That Riva had 4 children. She had twins, girls, Chaye and Han. Chaye and Hane, the twins, that was the twins, Chaye and Hane. And then she had 2 boys, given Ashmiel and Herschel. That her husband's name was Meyer. She was Riva. Okay, let me put it together. Then, who else did I miss? Oh, Hela, who had the twins in Israel. We had another Aunt Chaye, and her husband's name was also Avrom. And she had twins. So, what's the twins? Herschel and Tzvi. No, Tzvi is Herschel. Leibu. That's the whole family. In us. You know, we counted us. I counted us. Okay. So, that's the whole family before the war. Besides, my grandmother's sister and brothers and uncles and, you know, we had a cousin, Valroise, you know, he knows who she is, but that's the 3rd generation, whatever.
And none of them survived you?
Yes, one. We have the one in Israel. Valroise, you know who it is, yeah. We have one. This is my second cousin. And for my mother's side, we had a second cousin also. You know, Fred from California. Fred, do you remember him? No? You don't know about him? We had, that's also 2nd generation from my mother's side. That Valroise is also from my mother's side, yes. On my father's side, we don't have at all anybody. Just from my mother's side, a 2nd cousin, 2 2nd cousins. But he passed away too, that Fred from California. But that Valroise is still alive. She lives in Israel.
What were your parents like?
What my parents were like?
Mm-hmm.
What shall I tell you? They were the best. I was so proud of my father because he politic, like Uncle Mark. My father always liked to talk politics. As a matter of fact, that woman who asked us today about our father, and I said, my father always told us about America, you know, because Mark said America's good and America's dead, and thanks to America we are survived the way we are, and America's a golden land, you know, a land of gold. And so I said to my father, knew then that America is a good country. He always talked about America. That's why I'm so hurt that I always think about if they would only knew that we are in America now, and to see what we accomplish, all of us, you know. It hurts so much every time, because we were not that rich, you know, average, you know. And he always talked, America's a golden land, America's a golden land.
What did he do for a living?
Oh, he was a shoemaker. He had his own business, or? Yeah, kind of own business, yeah. He used to take out, what do you say, to work for him, you know. I don't know how to say, like you fathers in business, and he would have to sew to make the sweaters to do. My father would go to the shop and take all the thing, what you need for sewing to make a whole sweater, you know, and take it home and work in his house. And my father had workers to work for him, like 2-3 workers.
In the house? In the
house. In one room. One room. We slept, we ate, we worked, everything in that one room. We didn't have more than one room.
With all the kids?
With all 7 kids. all 7 kids. At night we put up beds to sleep. You know, in the morning we had to get up early because the workers were coming in. It was a hard life. We didn't have a shower, a bathtub like that. We had to warm up water and take a bath. And I was the last one always to take a bath because I want everybody to be done so I can take my time. Till now I can stay in the shower for an hour. So I said everybody's going to have their Friday night or night before because we couldn't do everybody in one night, you know, to wash them. So once a week everybody had a bath and clean clothes and things like that. So I was the last one to do it, always, because I like not to be bothered. So anyway, that's what my father did. He went to the factory, got all the things, he took him home and made the shoes ready to go back to the factory. You know, he made new shoes, new. And they were a season, what he made good money, summer shoes, winter shoes. So in the summer we used to have about 5 workers for us. In the winter we had less, 2 or 3. So that's what my father, he was a shoemaker, a good shoemaker too. Your mouth gets dry. So.
How did he meet your mother?
And my mother was a housekeeper. She never worked, but she helped. She helped a little bit with the work. When all the workers used to go home, they worked to a certain time. My mother used to sit down and help. And my sister Mindel helped too. I used to work. I used to go to work. You know, and I had boyfriends and friends who used to go out after I came home from work. I went out. I belonged to a club. And I went out. But Mindel used to help a lot.
Did Masha help too?
And Masha, no. You know, Masha went. She went to that Auntie Edda because she had children and she helped a little bit like a babysitter. She stayed with her. You know, she went to school from her house there, and she used to be like a babysitter, like a nanny, like they have a nanny in the house. She used to sleep there too, in my auntie's house. Yeah. So we had one left. So I had the bed by myself. She used to sleep with me. Mike used to sleep with my father. Riva and Goldal used to sleep with my mother. And Edda? No, couldn't be. No, Goldal still had a little crib, cradle. So Edda and Riva used to sleep with my mother. And Mark used to sleep with my father. We had big beds, not the kind of single beds, they have big beds. And Mindel and I used to sleep on a bed what opens up at night, and my sister Masha was in my aunt's house, and if she was home I used to sleep with her. I don't remember when Mindel used to sleep again when she was home. I don't remember. It's a long time. I don't remember that much. My father and mother were nice people. Very nice, very nice. I wish they wouldn't be alive anyway now. But I wish they would live to see what we done. 5 people survived. And we have Conora what? Riva said 72, 78, I don't know how many. From 5 people. Only 5. We have Conora, a nice family now.
How did your parents meet?
What?
How did they meet? Or was it an arranged?
Oh, well, like they met. I know the story how my mother used to tell us. You still have a movie there?
Yeah, we're okay. Plenty of time.
My mother, no, like boys and girls, like neighbors, you know, in little towns. My mother came from a little town, from Demblin, you know, and my father was also from that little town. My mother was a beautiful woman, beautiful. She had so much. Boys used to fight over her. She was very pretty. That's what she used to tell us. My mother didn't like my father when she was younger. She was 15 years old, 13 years old. That time the Germans were there too, you know. My mother worked in a canteen for the Germans that time. when she was about 17 years old. You know, she lost her father when she was 15 years old. Her father died. So anyway, when my mother met my father, she didn't like him from the beginning, so she liked somebody else. And my father used to send over boys to tell her this and this and this and this. My father was a good dancer. He used to dance. And my mother used to like to dance. She used to tell us all the time the story. And that's what made her go with my father. My father was a good-looking man. He was tall, red hair. He had red hair. And he was a good dancer. He used to teach us how to dance. Friday night when he didn't work, you know, he used to take me and the kids and to teach us how to dance. We had a little floor, but he taught us how to dance. And then my father went to the army. He went to the army. They took him to the army. He was, 21. And in Europe, I think they took to the army when they were 21, not 18, 21. And
This is
he
the
was
Polish army?
the Polish, yeah, he was in the Polish army. And then he was not married that time yet. He was still, so she went to visit him. And his mother used to go to visit him to bring him little packages. Once she went to, and that was in the same city. He was in the same city in the army in Dublin. And my mother, no, not my mother, my grandmother's Lotte. You have her on the family tree. There's it. She used to go visit her son in the army and bring him packages, like bringing chocolate chip cookies and things like that. So she brought him some goodies. While she was going there, he was marching. They had some exercise in the army, and all of a sudden, my father saw his mother, and he stuck out his head so she can see him. She can see him. He was punished for that. He was not supposed to do. When you march with the thing, they weren't. So his mother felt bad. They took him in the army or whatever, and they told him to Polish. I could say that's what they fell and get up. Fell, powstań.
Oh, push-ups.
Powstań means get up. Padni means fell. With the arm, with the rifle, with the whole, and they took him where it's mud, He had to do it. The officer, the sergeant, whoever it was, punished him for that because he's not supposed to pick a hand to show his mother that I am here. So he got punished for that. And Friday night, that was the storytelling. We all was sitting. Or he used to read us Jewish books. He used to read the paper, and Jewish books and stories, Sabbath. So Friday night, that was our time to sit and listen. If somebody moved or talked, he looked. He didn't hit us. He just looked. We knew it has to be quiet.
Now, what language did you speak?
Yiddish. No.
But in school?
In school, Polish.
So where did you learn the Yiddish?
In the house. My father and mother spoke Yiddish.
Did you speak Hebrew at all then?
No. I learned Yiddish only. I went to Cheder. I learned Yiddish.
How many days did you have Cheder?
Every day from school. When I came home from school, I had to go to Cheder, maybe an hour there. And once a week, we had to go for dictation, writing Yiddish, and dictation, dictandas, I don't know what to say.
No. Speech.
Writing.
Not writing, like the rabbi used to tell us word and we used to write. The rabbi dictated and we used to write.
Were the girls and boys separate?
No, together. We had so much fun with the boys. We had so much fun. We were young, 13 years old. And they used to teach them for the bar mitzvah, you know. And they were only every month there's a different siddur or whatever, vayayiru or something. I'll tell you, we had so much fun with those boys in Cheder. That was good years. So when they were Sedre, is that still the name like that? A Sedre Vayayru. We used to say Vayayru, Drayu Pisayru. We had so much fun in that time. So I went to Cheder because our father wanted us to be educated, Polish and Yiddish. Hebrew, I don't think we learned Hebrew. My father knew how to daven, but I don't think he understood what he was daven. I don't think he knew what he was doing, but he knew how to daven, to pray. He knew. So he wanted us to do it too. Mark was only 3 years old. We put him in Cheder. He cried, he didn't want to sit. He cried, but he had to go to Cheder. A boy had to go to Cheder, 3 years old. Yeah. So, what else?
Who do you think looks like your mother in the family? Because we don't have any pictures.
Oh, Mindel and Edda. Yeah. Mindel and Edda looks like my mother. And Edda looks a little bit like my grandmother. Come on, I'll show you a picture. You'll see that she looks like my Oh.
How did you celebrate Jewish holidays? Were there special occasions? Were there special songs that you sang or rituals that you did?
Food.
Special foods?
The food we eat today, the same thing. Well, we had Shabbats, like my father didn't work. Friday night, he stopped working till the Sunday. Sunday he worked. Shabbos, he went to Shul in the morning. We came back from Shul. We had fish, zibeles, chul. And there was a normal Shabbat, And then we rest. In the summer, we used to go for walks with the whole bunch of kids. We used to go to the beach in the summer only. There were a whole day, nothing to do. We didn't have a car to drive. We didn't have, so we went for walks Saturday. And it was normal Shabbos like they do here. My father didn't work Shabbos. And when he went to eat, he always put on his cap. He never ate without his head on his head. After he's done eating, he took it off. We were not that religious. He didn't smoke Shabbos. He smoked cigarettes, but he didn't smoke Shabbos. Never. He stopped Friday night till Sunday. He was a smoker. And holidays, like here, we went to Shul. We celebrate, we cooked. We made apple cake like your mother make. And my mother, and Yom Kippur we used to fast, and I was young, the time I was hungry. I used to go home and take care of that apple cake. Yom Kippur. And my mother used to come home and said, "Who was here in the house? Who ate that?" And I was afraid to say that I was here and I was eating it. We're not supposed to eat. But I was hungry and I went home. I had a key. She gave me the key. She said, "What for you going home?" I said, "I'm tired. I want to go home." So, and it's normal. It was the holidays,
Were there songs that you remember?
Songs, what we used to sing for Passover. Gary knows the song.
I think I'll have my mom sing it when she does it.
Yes. You let your mother. I'm not a good singer.
She'll do the songs.
I'm sure she will remember some. She will remember.
She knows a lot of them.
Oh, she knows a lot of
Not a
them?
lot, probably not as many as you, but she knows some.
Yeah, probably not. But songs like we used to sing, I really don't remember. We had songs we used to sing. My mother used to sing. Riva, I think, sings the songs what my mother used to sing, lullabies to us and things like that. But, I forgot a lot of things from the house, from home. It's a long time. I went through a lot here. So, yeah.
After you...
When my father didn't work, he used to read a lot to us. To my mother, he wanted to read to us. We should understand. He was, like Uncle Mark, politic, No politics. Everything politics. He knew a lot. He knew a lot. You know, in the ghetto, what he did, we had a big radio, those old-fashioned radios, what they had. I'm sure they had it here too, those years ago, 50, 80 years ago, they had those big radios. My father used to put it on the window, and all the neighbors used to come by the window. My father was sitting and talking politics, what the radio says. There was, many years ago, there was a war in Spain. I'm sure you heard about it, you learned about in Spain, that thing. I met a guy in Florida. He was in Spain that time, and he recognized me because he used to live in my aunt's house, or my aunt's, not too far. He recognized me in Florida. I told him who I was. He said, sure, I know you. And then I looked at him, and I said, yes, I know you too. So my father always talked about politics, the war in Spain that time. And I remember that when he talked about, because he liked to listen to the radio, you know. And he read a lot. He read the Jewish paper, Nayas was the name. And then was another paper. What kind of paper was that? See, I forgot too. I don't remember everything, the paper. Oh, man? No. I don't remember. I don't remember the other paper.
When did you move to the ghetto?
When we moved to the ghetto, in 1939. They gave us a little house somewhere on an attic. A little attic someplace on the third and fourth floor. I don't even know how many floors, but way up. It was like a regular attic. And we lived there till they start making the real ghetto. You know, when they start building the walls and all the thing. And then I got sick. And all of us were sick with typhus. We all were sick with typhus. And there were no medicine, there were no to cure, you know. We were just lucky. You know, all of us were sick except my mother was not sick. She catered to us, she gave us everything, you know, and she was not sick. And she used to go out and sell little things. She sold 2 dresses of mine. I had for the holiday dresses. It's not like here we have galore with clothes. You know, you had a holiday dress, and that's you wore only Shabbat or the holiday. And I had 2 dresses because I was the oldest. So my mother went and sold them on the market to buy bread for us to eat, you know. And then I had something else. And then my other sister had some stuff what people would buy. She went out on the market to sell it. People bought, whoever had money. You know, we were alone. Our father was not alive anymore that time. I had to tell him that too, but you know, who can remember all those things, what my mother used to do, and to buy bread, you know, and it was hard that time. And then we moved to another, because when the ghetto was there, we couldn't stay there, it was too cold. It was like an attic. And we couldn't stay, so we moved again to my aunt. Again to that Auntie Eda. We moved again to her house. And there we stayed till the war, till we got transferred to the guest chamber with my mother and my sister. And we went to the concentration camp.
So you stayed with your Auntie Eda in Warsaw. Until someone came for you, soldiers
The
came?
The Germans came. We ran away. We went into the other side from the ghetto to the Gentile people. We ran on the other side. And my mother and my sister didn't want to go. They stayed home because they were afraid they looked more Jewish. We didn't look like Jews. So we ran to the Gentile side and we smuggled. Well, Riva was home too with my mother. Riva was too little to go with us. So Eda, Mark, Mendel, and I used to smuggle like barley, bread, flour, rice, sugar we brought into the ghetto. And we made some money. We had some money. So we were not that hungry, you know, because we used to do on But there were lots of people that were hungry in the ghetto. So on there we stayed on that Jelna. The street name was Jelna. And we stayed, what was it, Jelna 50. And we stayed there till the end, till he evacuated all the Jews from the ghetto. But we were on the other side, over the walls, when they started building those walls. So we were on the other side.
When you were smuggling, were there walls up when you were smuggling already?
Yeah,
or how'd you go back and forth?
I'll tell you. You know where the sewers are?
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't build by the sewers, so they left openings.
Okay.
And we crawled through those openings to the other side. But somebody had to watch if there's no soldiers, if there's no who told on us, we had to do it. But there were Gentile people also smuggling, so we made up with them. One was on the other side watching and said, come on, you can come. So we used to go where the sewer, under that, and crawl.
How far was it, you think? Underground?
Oh, it was not under the ground. It was above the ground, but there was a hole by the sewer because they couldn't build on the sewer.
Oh, okay. So you just
know what I mean?
Sure, no. Okay.
Okay, so there was a little opening. We were small, young, little. We could crawl. Mark and Edda, we used to go back and forth like that. I was not heavy like I'm now. Little. So that's what we did. And we used to bring in, at night we used to come home to our mother and bring all the stuff for her to eat and for my sisters. And we were not that hungry because we were just lucky. We smuggled in. And we had money too. And then the time was getting closer. They want all the Jews to get out from Warsaw. They want everybody to get out from the city. So he got everybody out. My aunt, that little cousin of mine, she was very, very sick, that little cousin. I gave blood for her. Yeah, because nobody was there around. None of her family or her husband's family was around. There was a sister, but she didn't want to give blood for the little girl. So they checked me, which I am only, she was a cousin of mine, my mother's sister. And they checked my blood. That time I was only 18 years old. And the blood matched. The blood matched that time. So I went to the hospital with my aunt, and I gave blood to her because they thought maybe the blood will help her, that girl. And she died anyway. So, the way they did that time, they put the baby right by me, and they connected to her the needle, and they connected by my arm, and the blood went right to her.
Straight
That's
through
the way
from
they
one
did
to
it,
the
huh?
other. Straight
Yeah, I could
through.
see the baby, and they connected. The blood went right into that baby.
And this was in the Jewish hospital in the ghetto?
No Jewish hospital. Jews didn't have Jewish hospital there.
But were there Jewish doctors or were there...
Was that the ghetto that time? Maybe it was not the ghetto, but it was war. Before they made the walls, we had wires, and we could go back and forth, back and forth. It was not strict yet. We could go to the non-Jewish section. Before they built the walls, they were those pointy
Barbed wire.
barbed wires, yeah. So it was not that strict. So I remember that time she could go to a hospital. And she went with me. She took me with, and we went there. But she died anyway. She didn't live, that baby.
Do you remember when they came to liquidate the ghetto? When they came to send you?
When they came to get us,
Mm-hmm.
I was not there. We were on the other side. I would say in the summer. I cannot remember which month. It wasn't the summer. It was not winter. The war started in September, and we were in the ghetto about 2 years. 2 years, and then when they came, must have been in 1942, in the summer. I don't know which month it was. We didn't have a calendar. We didn't know. I wouldn't even know the year. The day, I wouldn't even know. We didn't have a calendar. We lived by day. I know it was in the summer.
And when they came, who went where?
I was not in the house. Ada was not in the house. Mark was not in the house. My mother and Masha and Riva was in the house. So we took Riva to go on the other side, on the Gentile side, and my mother said that she's going to go with us. That she said, you go first and then I'm going to come with you. And she never came. We never saw her. She never came. They decided they're going to get all the Jewish people and get them out from the city. So we were lucky. We crossed over the street, over that, the gate. They had gates, Sometimes we could go through the gate. And my mother said she's going to come with my other sister, and she never came. They probably got her on the way. And we never saw her since then.
You didn't know how they died or where they died?
No.
They went to a camp?
We knew they'd taken everybody to the guest chamber. We knew that time already.
Oh, you did?
In the ghetto, sure. When they grabbed all the people, they said, what did they say? Juden free. You know what it means? Juden? Jews free. No Jews. So they got everybody. We could go into any house. All the houses were open. We could grab things there, whatever we wanted. And the Polish people did go. And they robbed all those houses because they were open. Because when they came in, you had to get up and go. You couldn't say, no, I'm not going. So you got up and go. You left everything behind.
So now the 5 of you were all alone?
What?
The 5 of you kids were all alone?
All alone. All alone. We raised ourselves all alone. Now I don't understand on the television when they say, I bet mother, drunken father, this, that, no mother, no father, not today. Look, we were 5 people. I was the oldest, 16 years old. Riva was only 7 years old. We raised ourselves. We didn't become bums. Nobody told us don't do this and don't do this. This is bad and this is good. We did whatever we understand it's good. And I don't understand them on television what they say with mothers are drunk and a father are drunk and this and this and this and no father, no mother, and they get bad children. I don't understand that. We raised ourselves. I was only 16 years old. The best years of mine I lost. The best years. Did you interview your father too?
Not yet.
Oh, you will? I'm the first one.
You're the first one?
Oh, I'm anxious to hear what I'm going to say. I bet it won't sound right.
No.
My broken English.
Sounds good.
It sounds very good.
Ah,
So all 5 of you were now on the non-Jewish side?
of what?
When they...
On the Irish side. Yeah, we smuggled. We got to know other people, not Jewish people, and they did it too. And we did it all together. Because sometimes when the Germans came, they didn't go and say we are Jewish. They didn't. We're together, we worked together, and we smuggled together. So we had where to go, where to stay. Once we couldn't stay in that house. As a matter of fact, her husband was a policeman. Yeah. She had a little grocery store, and we were there because we used to buy all the stuff to go to the ghetto. We bought from her. And her husband was a policeman. Nice people, nice people. She didn't say on us that we are Jews. She knew that we are Jewish. So one night, she said, it's not good for you to stay here because the Germans might come. I heard something. I think my husband told me something, that they're going to come and check if there's Jewish people around. So we went to another family, also not a Jewish people, Gentile, but they spoke Jewish just like I. Because they lived in the Jewish neighborhood and they learned how to speak Yiddish. They had a son and a daughter, and they spoke Jewish just like we. And I was surprised how they learned. So we went to that house, and that was over the bridge. There was a river, Wisła, you know, a river, Wisła, Polish, Wisła, Wieprz. So we went to the other side, Prague. Prague was the name. Where I lived was Warsaw, and there was Prague over the bridge. Like you go here from St. Paul, Minneapolis and St. Paul, we had Warsaw and Prague to go over the bridge. There was a river between. So we went to those people and we stayed there. And then she had a husband, a drunk. And she talked Jewish too to us, but she was not Jewish. And she said, you know, and my name was Hanka. That time they called me Hanka, that's why. She said, Hanka, you know what? Eda was with me and Riva was with me. We were supposed to sleep in her house because we couldn't stay there with the policeman, because she warned us not to be, just in case they might come. So we went there to another family, but her husband was a drunk. He needed money. So she said, you know what, when my husband will come, you have to get out from here, otherwise he can kill you. Otherwise he can. So sure enough, he came that night. He grabbed not a hammer, a hedge.
Hatchet?
Like an axe?
A hack.
Like an axe.
Like an axe? A hack. Flat,
Yeah.
so that flat is sharp.
Yep.
What you split, wood.
Axe.
A what?
Axe.
Axe?
A-X.
Axe. Is that what you call? He grabbed not a big one, a small one. And you know, he was drunk, he couldn't run. And they lived on the second floor. So when that woman heard him coming, she said, "En, Hanka, get ready and go, because he might kill you here." So I grabbed Riva by the hand, and Eda ran after me, and we ran down the steps. Of course, young kids, we ran. And there was a field with corn, you know, those tall corn, how they grow. That's why I know it was summer, because we went in the middle of the night, must have been, we were sleeping already. She woke us up, and I grabbed whatever I had, and we ran in, and we stayed in that corn. That corn is so high, you know, that nobody can see us. We ran so fast, Riva fell, and she scratched her knee, and it was bleeding. I had nothing to put on her. We didn't have anything. And she cried, but I said, Riva, I have no choice. Both her knees were, she fell on that sidewalk or whatever. We ran. And we stayed all night in that corn there till it was daylight, you know, till it started a little bit daylight. And we walked out from there. And we walked to a train station. And we were saying, what are we gonna do? What shall we do? Where shall we go? We cannot go here. We cannot go. What shall we do? I didn't know. We didn't have money. Because the money we left in the house there, in her house. I didn't have the money because she was we could trust her. You know, if you go with her that long, and I could have trusted, so I gave her the money, we went to bed. We didn't know what to do. No money, no guilt, nothing. So I said to my sister, Eda, I said, let's go to Dublin, you know, where my mother and father come. Maybe the people are still there, you know, maybe they didn't go. So we went by train without money. We told them we don't have the money, we want to go to Dublin. And it was like freight cars. We went to that conductor and said, we don't have the money, we want to go. We asked him where he's going. And he said he's going that direction. So he led us up in a little town, a little city, and we walked. We walked to Dublin. And then we came there, nobody was there. Nobody, none of our family was there. They were gone. We had only one uncle was still there. The one when I got a crash and she was in camp. And a cousin, Herschel, was still there. So we couldn't go into that camp. We had to be registered. We had to be registered. And that night, they took out lots of people from the camp, from that camp, to send them farther to a different camp, because the Russians were coming closer, so they wanted to take all the people to go farther. So they took all the people, and we went to Częstochow, another camp. Another camp, Częstochow. That was the camp where we got liberated. So somebody took us in there to that camp in Demblin. We had some, not we knew, because we didn't live in Demblin, we lived in Warsaw, but somebody knew us. We said that our name is Rochenschwald, which it was Mandelbaum, but our family from Demblin was Rochenschwald. And there was a woman who knew us. She was married to Chiusha. She's still alive. She lives in Canada. And she knew that we kind of relative of her. So she took us in one by one through those wire. There were no walls, but she took us into the camp, and we stayed there overnight. And we stayed, and then little by little she registered us in the camp.
So you voluntarily went into the camp?
Yes, of course. We had no place where to go. We had to. No Jews. They all were. We had that only uncle. There he was taken away too. So we didn't have nobody anymore. So we were in that camp.
Was Uncle Mark still with you too at that point?
Yeah.
So it was all of you still?
All of us were there. Mendel, everybody. Sure, we met. They came to Demblin too. Right. We split, but they came because, okay, let me tell you that why we came to Demblin. Before the war started, and my mother and my father got us all together, and she said, well, now it's going to be our bedtime. There's a war, and you little kids, and we have lots of families, but we won't know where everybody is. After the war, if it's going to be quiet, there are no shootings, no, everybody should come to Demblin. And I remember that, what my mother and father used to say, that we should come to Demblin and meet each other. And that's why we went to Demblin. And we came to Demblin, nobody was there. So we went to the concentration camp. What shall we do? You know, if there wasn't be the camp, we had to go to the Germans. There's no other way to do. You know, Jews, nobody liked the Jews. So then we stayed there, Demblin, till we got transferred to another camp to Częstochow.
And where was Częstochow? Was that in Poland?
Yeah, Częstochow was in Poland. This is a very holy city for the Catholics. There was a big church there. When we were in camp, that was across the street, because when we were liberated, we could see that church. You know, they have holidays what they walk, the non-Jewish people, they have some kind of holidays what they walk miles and miles to that church. They walk to that church. That Pope goes there. Pope, what's the name? Paul?
Pope John Paul?
John Paul goes to that church when he goes to, well, he's from Poland, but he's not from Częstochow, he's from Krakow. So anyway, we stayed in that concentration camp, and we worked in an ammunition factory, and we stayed there till we got liberated.
All
5 of us.
Oh, so you were all together the whole time?
Yes, yeah, of course. Yeah, we were together. Ed and Mendel were separated in the ghetto, but they went to work for Polish people because they were working in the field somewhere in a little town. They wanted to go to work. They needed people, so they went there. But they didn't know they are Jewish. Only they were not Jewish. So then they came back because there were no Jews and they were homesick. Both of them. They were homesick and they wanted to come back. And we stayed in Częstochow till we got liberated.
What was life like on a daily basis in Częstochow? You got up.
Go to work.
Was there roll call like in some of the other camps where you had to stand for hours?
In Częstochow, no. No. In Częstochow we got up, got dressed, go into the factory, because the factory was right by the barracks. In Demblin we had that, yes, calls outside. As a matter of fact, when they hanged somebody, because he stole some, I don't know, bread or soap. He had a father in the camp too there, a son and so they hanged the son, and everybody had to be outside and see how he's hanging. And that father said, please hang me, don't hang my son, please. And they pushed him away, that old man. I mean, he probably was not old. I was younger, he must have been a young man too, because he had a young son. But those years when you're young, you think somebody's old. So everybody had to go out in the morning and see. He was hanged during the night, we didn't see it, but we had to go out in the morning, see him hanging. Yeah, and once they shoot somebody, they kill them. They put him by the gate. By the gate they put him, and everybody had to look at him when we were coming home from work. We had to go by and look at that guy. And it was written why he was killed. Terrible, terrible. I can sit here and tell and talk and talk and talk. Like we didn't say today, not even 1% today to that radio or whatever they're going to have TV. Not even 1%. Even though we all said different things. And that's a thing to sell.
Was Częstochow a death camp?
No, working. No.
So when Mom said that she was almost taken with the children, was that at Częstochow or was that in Denver?
Częstochow. Oh yeah, she was telling that today too. Yeah, she was among the children, Riva. When we were transferred, they took us because we worked. We had numbers. Riva didn't work in Demblin. She was just in the barracks, because there was a lot of children who didn't work. But when she went to Częstochow, she had to work, but I don't remember if she worked in the barracks, clean, or whatever she did. I really don't remember, and I don't think Riva remembers. Yeah, so they took all the children away. Mark was among the children too. They even took Mark. But Mark went to the German and said, I have a number, I worked. And he looked big to him, so he said, go, you're going to work. Riva was holding a 3-month-old baby. That baby was born in Demblin Lager. That woman was pregnant and she came to the camp. And she was holding a 3-month or 4-month-old baby. She was holding it. And, Riva loves babies, always. She didn't, and we told her, put that baby down, don't hold it. Maybe you'll have a chance to get out from that thing. She didn't want to put down. And that soldier who watched us, told her that too, put down the baby. She didn't want it. So finally, we kept on saying, put the baby down. So she finally did. And she was hiding among the clothes or schmattes, whatever they were. The way, how she came into that bed, we all took beds. Before we went into the barracks, we had to take beds. And how she got there, who brought her down there, I don't remember. I really don't. And she doesn't know either how she got there.
Other than taking the children, did they line people up and kill them from time to time? If you were sick or old, or it was just at the beginning? Mm-hmm.
No. In other concentrations they did, but the children, I don't know how many was there, 20 or 25, they all were killed. From one family, there was a family, Mark's a friend, 3 children they killed from one family. And that little baby got killed also. Yeah.
Were there people that were shipped in from other camps? Was there a lot of movement in Częstochow, or was it basically the same people there the whole time?
Always the same people till we got liberated. No, they brought in they brought us in, they brought from someplace else, and that was it. They didn't bring any because there were no room to bring more people. There were 3 barracks and 3 or 4. They were for men and for women. It's different barracks. And while we were there, they didn't bring any more people in. We were the last one to bring into Częstochow camp.
So they gave you uniforms. You didn't have uniforms.
Nothing. What are you
Just the clothes
talking? We had the
underneath
clothes what we had on.
And how often did they give you food, and what did they give you?
Every day. Every day. We
Once
got
a
a piece
day?
of bread. Yes. A piece of bread in the morning. And lunchtime we had soup. We had a little can for the soup. And I think when we came home from work, we had again soup. Yeah, a little piece of bread.
How did you get water?
Oh, water we could drink. There were plenty of water. Water we could drink. I washed myself with cold water. There was no warm water. I washed my hair, I washed my body, I washed my clothes. Whatever I had on me, I wore it till the liberation. It was torn to pieces, but I wore it. I didn't have any clothes. They didn't give us clothes.
But water.
They took away all the clothes. Whatever we had, they took it away. We didn't have any clothes.
And if your shoes wore out, then that was the end of that.
You walked without shoes. That's it.
Was there anything that you remember in particular, something that happened at the camp?
Oh, before we got liberated, I'm going to say that speech tomorrow. I have a whole speech written down, but my English is not good, so I don't know. I don't speak good English.
Try.
Well,
Your
you
English
try
is
every
fine.
talking.
Your English,
No,
I've
it's really
understood. Auntie Ann, I've understood everything you've said.
I know you do. Everybody can understand, but I don't talk like Riva.
Don't worry about it.
You're getting your point across very well.
Okay, before the liberation, what I can remember things. You know, before we got liberated, January 16, 1945, that was when we got liberated, we were supposed to be sent to another camp because the Russians were closer. The Russians were coming closer. So they wanted to ship us maybe to Germany, farther away. And the train was waiting already outside for us that day, 1945. And everybody was supposed to go into those freight trains, you know, the car. It was like it was not a regular train, freight car. So we were supposed to call by the names, who's going, who's not going, because they wanted to leave still some people in the ammunition factory to work. So they called, we were sitting here waiting till our name will be called. So I said to Riva, Riva, if they're going to call your name, Riva, don't go. Don't go. Because she was too young, and they would kill her. They wanted to kill her here, coming to that camp, and to the German camp, they would probably kill her. Because, you know, here was not that hard. And I said, Riva's too young. She was, 10 years old? Or she was a little girl. And I said, Riva, if they're going to call your name, don't go. I'm going to go, I'll pick myself up, and I'll go. And your name. Don't go. Your name is Hanem, my name is Riva. Zoals gedenk je. To remember, I said, I talked to her in Yiddish.
It's okay.
Do you know?
I understand.
He understands
He understands. Remember that, Riva. So they called Mark's name, because he was not with us in the barracks, but we could see him going by. We were standing all in line to get ready to go, but we could see Mark going by. He was the first one called to go in. Then they called Edda's name. And then they called Riva's name. Mindel and I was not cold. So when they called Riva's name, I got up and I walked out, to that big warehouse they had. I'm going to tell you now, so I won't tell you tomorrow. That was my biggest thing, what I remember, what I did. And Riva in Mindel was supposed to be in the barracks. And we were ready to go to ship us to another camp to Germany. But there was a big warehouse there, from bomb, ammunitions, I don't know what they had there, big bomb. So when Ed and I walked in, we saw Mark walking around with such a filthy blanket. He had such a filthy blanket, I don't know where he found it, because we couldn't take anything, we didn't have anything. And he came to us and said, in that warehouse we could talk, we could see, because nobody watched us there. He came over and he said, Edda and Ann, go hide someplace here. Go hide. Take that blanket and cover yourself up. It was already dark. That happened in the morning because we were sitting the whole night till they called the name, and that was already a whole day. It took us a whole day standing outside. It was cold. I didn't have nothing on me. And he said, go hide someplace. We're going to hide because we'll probably be liberated. He knew something is cooking. As young he was already that smart. He knew. He said, go hide someplace. We're going to get liberated. Remember, go hide. So we were looking for a place where to hide. We didn't know. So all the people were standing and waiting. Meanwhile, they bombarded the city. They did. But they didn't do our camp. They bombed the whole city, but not our camp. I don't know why. So when we were walking out to the warehouse, the Germans were standing just like that with the rifles, just ready to shoot us, And all of a sudden, we don't see any Germans. Nothing. They're all gone. And the people came into the warehouse and they said, where are the Germans? Where are they? And we could see the Russians are coming in. They opened that gate, they broke it, they opened it, and they got in with that big tanks, what they have. They just drove in through that gate, and we saw the Russians are coming. So when we saw, we didn't see any Germans anymore. I don't know where they disappeared, or they took him right away in prison, So the Russian came in, so we were not sure. So my brother ran out from the warehouse. We didn't know. Some other people knew before they ran out. So Mark ran out from the warehouse to see if we are really free, if it's true, because we were afraid, you might get killed. So he saw a guy. No, he went into a warehouse, another warehouse where the food was there. He grabbed a big can with honey, a heavy can. We didn't have a can opener, we didn't have nothing, just a can of honey. And we carried it around, we couldn't have nothing to eat. So he brought in the can to the warehouse there, and he said, have that, listen. So how are we going to open that? We don't have a can opener. Anyway, so then he walked out again, and he saw a man carrying maybe 5 loaves of bread or 6 loaves of bread, like that, carrying, how you carry the big loaves of bread? And he went to him, he said, hey, you, my sister don't have bread, give me 2 loaves of bread. So he just grabbed 2 loaves of bread from him. He couldn't say nothing, he had 5 loaves. He grabbed 2 loaves of bread from him, he brought it into the camp. So I said, well, we have bread, we have honey, but we cannot open the can. We cannot open the can. So anyway, we ate the bread, and we walked out from the gate already. We were free. We were free. The Russian knew that we are Jews. They said, Ivray is a Jew. And we walked with that can. And I was carrying, Riva was carrying, couldn't get rid of it. So the Polish people were standing on the street, and they were wondering, is there still so many Jews here? Is there still? Where did Jews coming from? They didn't even know we were there in that camp with the Jews, because everybody walked out. Everybody walked out. And then was a guy standing, and we were standing and talking to him in Polish, and we said, would you like to buy that can of honey and give us bread? Because we didn't have bread anymore. We couldn't open it. We didn't have a nail, we didn't have a hammer, we didn't have nothing. So we had, and it was heavy to carry, 5 pounds or maybe more, who knows. So he took the can of honey, he gave us 2 loaves of bread to eat. So we got rid of the honey and we had bread. Bread was perfect, okay, to eat even without anything, to eat the bread. So, and we walked, we want to go to Demblin again, like I said. Everything goes connected. From the liberation, we wanted to go to Demblin. And on the way, they were bombarding the city. And we walked a whole bunch. Going out from the gate, Mindel and Mark, I think, was not with me. We got lost. Mindel, Mark got lost, and Edda and Riva and me got lost. We separated. So we walked to Demblin, just the 3 of us. Riva didn't have shoes, Edda had wooden shoes, and I didn't have nothing. I didn't freeze. January. Riva had something torn pieces, I don't know, and Edda, I don't know how we survived in January. I don't know. We walked miles and miles and miles. We didn't have a train. And then on the way we went into people's houses, not as Jewish, Polish people. They used to give us soup, they used to give us bread, they used to let us stay overnight because we had to sleep. It took us maybe 2 weeks to go to Demblin, walking, So we went into people's houses too, and to ask for food. They didn't know we are Jewish. Everything, they didn't know we are Jewish. And walking on the way, we found 2 young men. Oh yeah, I have to put this down too. See, Jewish people, 2 young men. And it was in a forest. They probably came in. They were Jewish because, and they saw 3 of us walking. We got scared for a while, but we didn't know, and they talked to us. They talked Polish, but then they said a signal what Jewish people have, Amcho. Do you know that word? Amcho. Amcho is a Jew, and a signal to, a Gentile doesn't know what that word means, Amcho. Jewish people know only that word, Amcho. And he said, are you Amcho? Amcho? I was standing and listening. I didn't know. I didn't know what that word means. That time I was young. I didn't know. Now I know. Now what that word means. Edda knows that too. If I would say, all 3 of us would say Amchu, they would took care of us that time. We were on our way going to Demblin, walking. But if we didn't know what's that word, so they thought, those young men thought maybe we are not Jewish. We are not Jewish, so they walked away. And I bet they would have taken care of us if they would know. There must have been partisan in the forest where they were hiding and looking for Jewish people. But I didn't know what that word means. Now I know. Or too bad I didn't tell her that too. While I'm talking, it comes to me back things. So we went to Demblin. That's all. We went.
The Russians, they just opened the gates, pushed everything down and let you go, didn't do anything else?
Didn't give you anything.
They didn't give you food, didn't give you water, didn't give you medical. They just opened and said, you're on your own.
Not in Poland. In England or whatever, they were different.
Right.
Germany, when they got liberated, they gave them, not by us, no. They gave us bread. I think there were bread there. They gave us some bread. Water we could have. There was plenty of water, Bread, I think they gave us bread, some of them, but they couldn't have for everybody. There were so many people in that concentration camp. Everybody went in a different direction.
How many people do you think were in the concentration camp?
I don't know, maybe 1,000. I got injured too from the bombs, I got hurt. A piece from the bomb fell on my head and in my back.
While you were in the camp?
When you were in the camp, or
no, liberated. After I got liberated, while we were walking, winter and the snow, while we were walking. Ada knows better that story, because she was following where the blood was. I was dripping. I didn't even know I was injured. All of a sudden, I felt warm on my neck, and I touched it, and I saw blood. It was dripping something, and it was warm on my neck. And then we saw a little house there. So I walked in, and Ada and Riva was in a bunker like they, for the soldiers when they fall in, when the bombs were flying.
Right, a bunker.
And I was walking with a girl holding some soap together. It was too heavy for her, so we both hold soap. Soap is good. We could sell it, buy bread, things. She got injured in her leg here. It tore away a piece of her leg. And I got in the head, in my back, a piece of it. In the back, I didn't even feel it, but when I was laying down like that, I could feel something is poking me, something, So Ada saw, and she took it out, or a Russian. I think we came into that house. There was Russian soldiers, and I want them to do something for me because I said I have blood. That was the Russian who were bombarding, because the Russian was still there, the German was still there. And he took such a big scissor, because probably they didn't have, and cut away all my hair on that spot, and gave me a piece of cloth to tie around, and he said it's going to heal like that. And it did heal. I didn't touch it, but it healed. It healed. And then when my sister Riva and Ada got up from that bunker, from those river where they hide, she was following where the blood was. She thought for sure that I was killed or something, because that girl was killed there.
The girl who hurt
her? Not the girl what I was holding, another girl was killed. She fell and killed. So she was following the steps where there were blood dripping on the snow, on the white snow, and she walked into that house where I was. Sure enough, she saw me, and I said I was injured. I had something on my head here, I still have a scar on my head. So she came in and she saw me there. So, and we talked to that woman, Polish, and that Russian, there were 2 Russian soldiers, and they did it. They said, it's going to heal, it's going to heal. It did heal. So that was after the liberation.
On your way to Dublin.
On the way to Dublin.
And then the 3 of you made it to Dublin.
Riva and I and Ada made it to Dublin. Mark and Mindel was not with us because we got lost on the way. We didn't know where they were. There were no telephone to call. And in Dublin we stayed maybe a week. We didn't have no place where to stay. There were houses, but they were torn. There were no windows. There were no doors. They were Russian. So we met a few Russian, and that Balarosa was with us too. She speaks good Russian. So she went out to the Russian. They brought us a lamp from kerosene to bring, because it was dark. There were no windows. It was from the war, turned down. And there was just a house, without windows, without a door. Everybody could walk in. And there was a stove, not a stove like we have, a built-in stove from cement and old-fashioned stoves there was. And they brought us wood they were good soldiers, the Russians. Some of them were mad, they want to rape us there. Yes, Riva and Ada were standing in front of me, hiding me that I'm a little girl. Yes, they came out. And then we told to the other Russian, and they said, well, if that's the case, they're going to stay and wait for them to. They never came back, those other Russians. And they were good young Russians, and they came, they brought us food, they brought us bread, and they brought wood to burn in that stove to make warm.
And they knew you were Jewish?
And what?
Did they know you were Jewish?
Yeah, we told them. The Russian, we told them. So they were young Russian, they were going on duty, they watched the city or something. So whenever they watched the city, they came up. We were young girls, a bunch of young girls. There were more girls, not me alone. There were one man and amongst maybe 15 girls. He got liberated also, that man. Yeah. So he was talking to that man, and he made fire in that stove, and it was warm a little bit. And then we had a lamp too, at least it was light. They brought that. I don't know where they got it, those Russians, but they brought it to the house. And we stayed maybe a week or there. And then Mark and Riva? No. Mark was already in a different town, Lublin. I think my sister Mindel met that cousin from California. And he said that we should come to Lublin. Not Emblin, Lublin. And he is going to put them in an orphanage house. Riva was there, Eda was there, and Mark was there. And I was there in a special house where all the displaced people came. So I was there, in a house like that. Then when my cousin came from California, he's not alive anymore. He found out that I'm in that house there. He came and got me, and I stayed with him for a long, long time. Till I met my husband. And then he moved away to a different city too. He didn't want to stay there anymore. So I met my husband that time. Well, when he moved away, I moved back to that house. What all the newcomers came there, the refugees from all the camps. Everybody came to look for relatives there. And that Dom Peretza, that was the name, Dom Peretza. Peretz, you know, that from Israel, what's his name? Peretz. But he had another name. Dr. Peretz or what? Well, he was a fighter for Israel, Peretz. With a beard, shroud. No? You don't know?
No.
No? Okay. Dom Peretza, that was the name, Dom Peretza. And everybody came to that house to find relatives, family. So, my husband was there, he was looking for relatives there. And that Balaroise, who lives in Israel, she came, I met her there. She's a second cousin. I met her there, and everybody came to look. So, and then I met my husband there, and that Dom Peretza. So we got together, and he had a house. He had not a house, a little store he worked. He was also a shoemaker. My husband was a shoemaker. He used to fix shoes and things. You know what? When I was growing up in my house, my father was a shoemaker. And I said, I will never marry a shoemaker or a man who wears glasses.
What you got about that?
Isn't it something? I married a shoemaker and I married a man who wears glasses. He was 21 years old, he started wearing glasses. They didn't take him to the army because he didn't have good eyes. My husband was never in the army. He didn't have good eyes, he didn't have good feet. He had flat feet. And they didn't take people with flat feet to the army. No.
Where was Uncle Shia from?
Warsaw.
Oh, he was from Warsaw too.
Yeah. Yeah, he has a whole mishpucha, a whole family there. And yeah, but he was not in a concentration camp. He was in Russia. He came from Russia. Yeah. He left the family behind. He thought that they're going to come with him too to Russia, but they never made it. You know, they said tomorrow, and then the German came in and Never made it to Russia. So he had a big family, 2 sisters and brothers and a mother and father and cousins. He had a cousin in Israel. He passed away. That's all. He was only one person, nobody else. He had nobody else except me and the kids. Yeah.
So you were,
that's it.
how did you decide to come to America?
Okay. Everybody was in Poland. Everybody came to Poland to look for family. We couldn't find anybody. And in Poland was not that good because the Polish people killed the Jews again there. Yeah, Akowczy's, they called them Akowczy's. They were against the Jews. One evening, we were standing outside, after work, people used to go out in front of the gate from that courtyard and talk and think. All of a sudden, a truck came by and started shooting with these machines shooting, Even the Gentile people ran away. They didn't know who we were, but they thought on that street is only Jewish people live here. There were a whole bunch of Jewish people sitting in front, talking in the summer already. That was Sukkot. Sukkot is still warm. That time it was still Sukkot. And the truck, everybody was running back. I went into the bathroom, right? She went into his house and locked the door, and I couldn't go out. I didn't know if he's in the house or where I was. Or I was in the toilet, hiding in the toilet. And I was scared to death. And we decided that time, I was more close already to Shia, because he took in 2 girls from a concentration camp. They didn't have no place where to go. Shia took him in. He brought in a bed special for them to stay with him till they're going to find somebody. He was such a good-natured man. He took care of them, young kids too. And then we got closer and closer to my husband, to Shia, and we decided we're going to go to Germany. We're going to travel. I mean, from Germany we went we were supposed to go to Israel actually, but from Poland was hard to get out. To go to Germany would be easier. So we traveled, we smuggled to Germany. We went as Greeks. We had to throw away all the paper. We're not supposed to have any little paper, not Jewish, not Polish. I had marriage license in Yiddish, in Jewish. I had to throw them away because I was not supposed to have. We only had a backpack. She and I had a backpack. That's all what we had. And we had to go, smuggle. That was our organization. What they did from all the Jewish people. They want all the Jewish people out, but nobody let us in. It was hard that time. The English people were still against Israel. It was still hard. So we went from Poland, we went to Czechoslovakia. In Czechoslovakia we stayed a little bit, and we went to Germany then. We stayed maybe in Czechoslovakia maybe 2 weeks. We couldn't get out because the place was not clear because there were still soldiers watching and things. So we couldn't get out from Czechoslovakia, but we bought bread. Listen to that. In Czechoslovakia they have those long big bread. Bread, it's always good to have. If you're hungry, you eat a piece of bread. You are free. You cannot buy anything else like I can here, there. But there you bought a bread and you ate. So she had a bread in that backpack and I had a bread. And it was dark at night. We went to the frightened cars, going from Czechoslovakia to Germany, smuggling like that. So there were a bunch of Russian too, but we were not afraid for the Russian because. So at night, while we were walking between those trains, Russian was going behind us too, and they thought we are carrying something in our backpack, and we didn't even know. So probably the Russian, they can steal, they can do things, but they didn't do nothing to us. So I think it was Shia's backpack or mine, maybe mine, opened up with a razor, the whole length, and they wanted to see what I have because it looks so, and then they saw bread. They didn't do it anything. Okay, then we went into the cars, the freight cars, and the Russian came with us, and other people came, not us alone, other people. There was a brother with two little sisters, Nebecho, and they were crying. He carried them over the forest there. We went to the dark forest, and the Russian came with us in that wagon, in that car, and they had vodka, they were drinking, and they wanted to know what kind of nationality we are. So we said we are Greek. We couldn't say Jewish or Polish, we are Greek. She was wearing a beret, you know, those, like those Greeks with a pipe there. We didn't have nothing. So we said we are Greek, we are going to Germany. And they had a bottle of vodka they were drinking, they said, and they started singing. And they said, Vypijm za Rodinu, Vypijm za Stalina, Vypijm za Greek тоже. You understand? No.
What language is it? Polish?
Russian.
Oh, Russian.
Vypij. We drink for Russia, we drink for Stalin, we drink for the Greek. We drink for the Greek too. Vypijm za Rodina. The Rodina means the land.
Right.
Russian. Rodina. Rodina means a family, but it's the land. Vypijm za Stalino. Stalin was that time. And Vypijm for the Greek тоже. That's me too, for the Greeks too. So they made us laugh and things, but we understood what they were talking, because Russian and Polish are a little bit similar, like German and Jewish. German's language and Jewish are also a little similar. So anyway, so we had fun going there. So finally we came to Germany. We didn't have where to go.
This was just you and Uncle Shia.
Yeah, yeah. I was already.
The rest of the crew was still where? Like Auntie Etta and my mom, or where were they?
They were at the kibbutz already.
Okay. Well, we'll get to their story.
I went out the last one because I didn't want to go out from Poland till Riva will be out. Riva was still in an orphanage. And I said to my husband, Sam, I cannot go before Riva will be out from Poland. You know, because I wouldn't leave her there. She was a little girl. And I didn't want to go. So the minute she went out from Poland to a different camp, to a different orphanage, we left too. We didn't want to stay anymore.
Okay, so now you're in Germany.
Now we are in Germany. Where did we stay? In Berlin. We stayed in Berlin in some kind of house. What house is that? Rothschild's a house. All the people came to that house, Rothschild. You know, he was a millionaire, that Rothschild.
You weren't married yet?
Yeah.
I didn't have children.
You didn't ask if you had children, I said you're married.
Yeah, because she said she had to throw away her Jewish...
I know, but I want to know if she was married.
Oh yeah, yes, we went to a shoichet. You know what a shoichet? To get married.
Okay.
What do you have a shoichet? You know what's a shoichet is?
Yeah,
a
butcher, Jewish ritual.
Yeah, who kills kosher meat.
Yeah.
That's a shoichet. So everybody took marriage thing by him. He gave us a piece of, and I had to throw it away anyway. I couldn't have it.
Right, okay. That's right.
Okay, yeah. So I was married, yes, to Shia. So we came to Germany. We didn't have a place where to go. I didn't know where Mindel is. Mindel lived in another city, and it was too far to go. My cousin, the Belaroyes, lived in another city, and they didn't let me in that thing there. So my husband found a friend, they were friends before the war, from Warsaw. Like a boyfriend, friends. He saw us in front of the gate. We couldn't go into the camp. Nobody wanted us, you know. And he said, okay, I'll let you in. I'll let you in, because he knew how to do it. So he took us in, that my husband's friend, Shmulak was his name. He lives in Australia, but I don't know if he's still alive anyway. Anyway, he wanted us to go with him to Australia. from Germany, he went to Australia, and he wanted us so bad to go to Australia. My husband didn't want to go, and I didn't want to go because I had family here. I had family. And so finally we went into that camp, and we met my cousin Balois again there. She was there, and we got registered. They registered us, and they gave us a room with somebody, with 3 single men, a big room. And my husband and I was there in that room with those 2 single men. They matched up because there was not enough room because everybody was coming to that camp. And we couldn't stay with that friend because he had a small little room. He had a son, 7 years old, so we couldn't stay. We had to go. So we stayed there till we went. We stayed there till we found out my sister lives in a different city in Germany. So my sister came to see me, and then I went to her, and I couldn't stay there. And then they moved by themselves too. They didn't want to stay there, they want to go. So we all moved to Munich, Germany. Also a camp was there, the P camp there. We stayed in Munich. In that camp, in Duvid, my Mendel's husband was a policeman in the camp. He was a Jewish policeman, yeah. So we had pretty good, we had, what do you say? Connection.
I like your word better.
Protection. Because he knew the director from the camp, we could go. As a matter of fact, that director gave Mendel a gold watch to my sister, and I said to do it, I would like to have a gold watch like that too. So he went to him and said, bring me a watch, I'm going to pay you. Well, I wanted to pay her, he wouldn't give me, he gave her. So he wrote to America, and his mother, his sister, I don't know who it was, sent him a gold watch for me. So Mendel and I had the same gold watch. So, no, I paid him, I didn't.
Do you still
he
have
didn't
it?
give me. Yeah, and we had good food and good groceries. Every week we had to go to the warehouse to get our groceries. We had chocolate, we had everything. And Riva was the one who eats the chocolate. She ate the chocolate. Riva lived with us for a while, yeah. And then she went to a kibbutz with Mark, and yeah, because she was young, and she still went to school there. And so she stayed with us, and then she went with them to another city. And we had it pretty good there.
The DP camp, did you work? Did they?
DP camp?
Yeah.
No.
So.
No, we were fed. We got clothes, we had groceries, we had everything.
But you didn't work?
No, we didn't. They chased out all the Germans from those apartments, and there were houses. There were 3 apartments in every house. So Mendel and I and another couple used to live in that house, but there were 1 kitchen. Everybody used the kitchen. 1 kitchen for everybody. So we all used the kitchen.
Okay, now it's taping again. So Uncle Shears worked for the money.
Private,
He
yeah,
worked
for
private
customers.
jobs. Okay. So now go on. You're in Munich, you said, in the DP camps.
Yeah, I was in the Munich in DP camp
And
with
the name of that camp was what now?
New Preimann. New Preimann was the camp. And Mendel and I lived in one house where the Germans used to live. They chased them out and we moved in. And there were 3 families. Their Uncle Jerry lived upstairs. I lived downstairs in a very tiny little room. And Mendel lived in another room because he was a policeman and could pick whatever he wants. Anyway, we got pregnant. My sister Mendel got pregnant. The twins were born, Sherry and Johnny. Then I got pregnant. Larry was born there.
So Sherry and Joni and Larry were all born in DP camps already?
Yes.
Okay.
So did Rosalie too.
Right. I know it's later on.
Yeah. So they were born in the DP camp, and we stayed there in the DP camp till 1949. 4 years, I think, was. Then Auntie Mindel had to move to Israel. She moved to Israel for reason I cannot say. This I'm not going to say. I know her. I'll tell you later. Okay. She moved away to Israel, and I still was in the camp, New Freiman. We applied to go to Israel too, but our contract or affidavit didn't come, so we were waiting to go to Israel. Then we applied to go to America too.
Yeah.
So finally, the contract from America came before the contract from Israel.
Right.
So we went to United States.
Mosley was already born then?
Yeah. In between, Rosalie was born. I had another child, Rosalie, a daughter. She was 6 months old when I came to United States. And Larry was not quite 3 years old. We came in October, he was November, 3 years old. And what else?
So you came by boat?
Oh, we came by boat, yeah. What do you call that island?
Ellis Island?
Yeah, we came there.
Okay.
Anyway, we really had a contract to go to St. Louis, Missouri, because my husband was Shia, Uncle Shia was a shoemaker, and they have lots of factories from shoes there in Missouri. That's why they picked Missouri to go. And I didn't want to go because my sisters, Eda and Riva, was here in Minneapolis, so I wanted to go to Minneapolis because I didn't want to separate. We were all the time together, and I want to be together. So I went here to Minneapolis, and I stayed here with my sisters. So
did you have to pay for the boat to come across? Or?
No, we didn't pay. The Hayas paid for us.
Who's that?
The American Family, no, Jewish.
American Jewish Family Service, something like that?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, American Jewish Family Service. Hayas, they called it Hayas. They paid for everything. We came by boat to New York, and from New York we came by train to Chicago, and from Chicago we came to Minneapolis. From New York to Chicago, right, and from Chicago we came here, and I couldn't say a word in English, and I still don't know how to speak.
You just spoke for 2 hours of English. How bad can it be? So, okay, you
well,
got
they'll know. They'll tell my grandma was a poor English talker.
Yeah. You got to Chicago, and then you got a train here again?
Yeah, we went to Chicago, and we couldn't speak English, and Rosalie, my little baby, needed to eat milk, and we had a social worker happen. She came because we were wearing those tags, and she could tell that we are coming. So she came, and I talked to her Jewish.
Right.
She talked Jewish. I said I want a bottle of milk with sugar in it, because that's the kind only she was drinking with sugar. And then we came to our United States. Your mother and Eda was supposed to come to the train to watch for me. Meanwhile, I came a little earlier, and I was supposed to come 8 o'clock. They were told I was supposed to be 8 o'clock. Meanwhile, I came 2 o'clock. So I couldn't speak a word, so I had an address, and I showed to the taxi driver. Everybody they could see that I cannot speak English. So I went to the taxi driver, and I showed him that address, and he knew where to take me. Meanwhile, Edna moved away from that address. She didn't live there anymore, and I didn't have the new address. So the taxi man went out to a neighbor where Edna used to live on I don't even know, 8th Avenue.
On the north side still?
Yeah, north side, on 8th Avenue. And the neighbor told her where Edna moved, so he took me to Edna's house. And they were surprised when I came, because they didn't know that I'm coming 2 or 3 o'clock. They were surprised. So Riva ran out to say hello to Larry and things. So Larry said, "Ti bista kake." I have to say that, so he'll remember. He couldn't say, he talked Yiddish, "Ti bista kake."
To my mom?
to your mother. Strange people, he didn't know. He was
Now,
not
had
3 years
Larry
old.
ever seen my mom?
A what?
Had Larry ever seen my mom up until that point, or he saw him?
Yeah, but he didn't remember. He was a little baby.
So he was
When
only
Ada
4 years
le-
old.
when Riva left, he was a year old, or maybe 8 months old. I don't know. Yeah, he did.
That was the first time she saw Rosalie, though.
Yeah, Rosalie, that's right. Yeah, because she was born in Germany. Then I came to United States and I had another boy, Steve, was born here. We lived at Knox, and Steve was born there. And then we had a tragedy. Rosalie died. In 1977, December 13, 1977, she died. A doctor killed her. She was a healthy, beautiful girl. Healthy, beautiful girl. Then, 16 years later, my husband died, Sam. He had a stroke. He lived with a stroke 10 years, and then finally he died. He was 85 years old when he died. October 4, 1993. And I was left alone in a big house. But I shouldn't complain. I still have my family, and I have support from my family, and I have good nephews and nieces. And that's it. That's my life story. That's my life story. And Gary did the filming. What shall I say? Gary Keyboard, Riva's son, was so nice to come and do that. It was really nice of him to have a memory for our generation to come.
And then some. And then some.
And then.
A couple more generations.
Yeah. And then generations to come, if it's going to be, you'll give it to your children, your children's. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I forgot to tell something about my grandchildren from Larry. I have 2 grandchildren, Jason and Rachel. This is my pride and joy, what I enjoy now. I live for them. I love those kids, my whole heart. And Steve, my youngest son, is still a bachelor. He's not married. I don't know when. They were nice. They were nice children, sons, both nice. Whenever I need them, they are here. What else should I do? I'm going to Florida next week.
Anything you think, 50 years from now when where somebody else is watching this tape, that you think that they should remember about the war? That's important for you to remember.
Oh, I should tell that. Tell that. Yeah, whoever is going to watch from 50 years from now, whoever is going to be around, should remember us, what we went through, the war, what Hitler did. He wanted to kill all the Jewish people, but we were just lucky we survived. 5 of the whole family from the Mandelbaums. And, well, Mandelbaums, that's what we are. From the Mandelbaums, we survived, and I want to tell everybody they should remember all the time about us. They should think about us. 50 years, we're not going to have bones even left.
And that Hitler wasn't successful?
Oh, that's right.
That
Yeah, Hitler was not. How do you know about that? That Mark said
What?
about successful.
Well, I don't know. I know these.
Yeah, that he was not successful. No matter how he wanted to kill, we still survived. And they'll never kill the Jews. We're still going to be survivors, no matter when and how.
Amen.
Amen.